Forget the luxury vacation home. Seriously, that is officially a thing of the past. Today, the ultimate status symbol is far more extreme. We're talking about highly militarized, fortress-grade survival islands. Welcome to this explainer. Today we're decoding the architecture of elite isolation, and we're going to look at the actual data and the hardware that the ultra-rich use to completely wall themselves off from the rest of society.
So you might be wondering, how do the world's wealthiest just disappear? And we aren't talking about going off the grid for a long weekend here. We're talking about billionaires literally transforming entire islands into self-sufficient, untraceable strongholds. They are essentially opting out of traditional society altogether to build their own worlds from the ground up.
To really wrap our heads around how they do this, we kind of need a new vocabulary. We are looking at what's called fortress-grade security. This is where extreme privacy meets bespoke luxury, and it's supported by infrastructure that genuinely rivals small nations. It's not just a fancy gate. We're talking private armies, military-grade radar, and completely self-sustaining ecosystems.
All right, let's dive into Level 1, the Municipal Fortress.
We'll start with a shared neighborhood, but on a massive scale. Take Indian Creek Village in Miami. It's heavily dubbed the Billionaire Bunker, and it's home to massive figures like Jeff Bezos and Mark Zuckerberg. Now, the ratio here is absolutely staggering, 1 to 5. That is the ratio of police officers to residents. To put that into perspective, the U.S. average is just 2.4 officers per 1,000 people. This private municipal army patrols a single 2-lane entry bridge 24 hours a day, and pedestrians are strictly forbidden. But here's the crazy part. The physical guards are literally just the backup. In 2022, the island installed a $1.6 million MOGOS radar system, effectively creating an invisible geofence right over the water. It relies on 10 thermal cameras and 17 radar sensors to track absolutely any object, a boat, a jet ski, even a single swimmer within a half-mile of the shore. And it uses AI to instantly classify the threat level. No way you're sneaking past that.
Moving on to Level 2, Solo Survival Compounds.
Here we see a transition from shared neighborhoods to entirely private estates, and they come in 2 distinct flavors. First, you have brute force survival. Think Mark Zuckerberg's $100 million Koʻolau Ranch in Hawaii, which is centered around a massive 5,000 square foot underground bunker complete with blast-resistant doors. Now, contrast that with stealthy self-sufficiency. Take Google co-founder Larry Page's 36-acre Eustatia Island. It's a totally off-grid, solar-powered eco-lab designed as an untraceable testing ground for ambitious projects, like flying cars. Crucially, though, this level of security isn't just physical, it's legal. To maintain total secrecy, these compounds rely on incredibly strict non-disclosure agreements, legally silencing every single contractor who steps foot on the property. Furthermore, to consolidate his massive Hawaiian estate, Zuckerberg utilized what are called quiet title lawsuits against native Hawaiian families who own small parcels within his property boundaries. It's a move that sparked significant public backlash, but it shows how the legal walls are built just as impenetrable as the concrete ones.
Which brings us to Level 3, Castles in Geopolitics.
Now this is what happens when extreme private isolation starts to blur into a sovereign military operation. Take Fort Brecqhou, purchased by the late billionaire twins Sir David and Sir Frederick Barclay. They transformed this 74-acre Channel Island into a literal mock-Gothic castle for an estimated £60 million. It features 100-foot granite walls, full battlements, and, because, no fortress is complete without them, a working installation of 22 cannons.
As you can imagine, this extreme fortress mentality inevitably clashes with reality. The Barclay brothers didn't just want a quiet vacation home. They ended up triggering a long-running political and legal feud with the neighboring local government of Sark. They aggressively challenged the island's property taxes and even made attempts to declare Brecqhou politically independent.
Now, let's look at something a bit different, the Geopolitical Spy Island.
While not owned by a single billionaire, Agalega in Mauritius provides a fascinating look at the kind of regional security that ultra-wealthy individuals often benefit from. The Indian military transformed this island, which was once home to just 350 farmers, into a massive strategic asset. The 3,000-meter runway easily accommodates P-8I aircraft, which are literally designed to hunt submarines. Paired with a coastal radar station, it creates this invisible umbrella of regional security that makes remote, private isolation possible in the first place.
So, what is the blueprint for extreme secrecy?
Taking all of these wild examples together, we can really synthesize 4 core pillars that billionaires use to opt out of society. Step 1, radar geofences. These are those invisible, AI-driven physical barriers. Step 2, municipal control, which is basically redirecting public tax dollars into private security. Step 3, strict NDAs to permanently silence staff. And finally, Step 4, anonymous LLCs. This buries property ownership so incredibly deep in public records that the outside world doesn't even know who lives behind the walls.
We've seen how the world's wealthiest are building highly secure, completely isolated realities for themselves. But we really have to consider the long-term implications here. When private wealth successfully walls itself off, replacing public governance and hoarding resources to build these independent fortresses, what happens to the society left behind on the outside? Well, it's definitely something to think about until our next explainer.